All right. So before we get to the rambling mess this video is going to be, I already know. I want to thank you for hitting the subscribe button. I wanted to thank you for watching at least 30 seconds of each and every ad as they pop up. Um, it helps. It helps me to make money, and I appreciate that. And we're all about me making money, right? Right. So I want to thank you for all of that. Now let's get to the video in question. Writing short stories. So, as you know, as you probably surmised, watching these videos, there's no notes in front of me. There's nothing. It's all just off the top of my head, whatever I'm thinking of. This is gonna be one of those videos. So we're gonna be all over the place, no edits, into the weeds. So it's changed over the years with me writing short stories. So for a long, long time, from the 80s when I was still a teenager, all the way up until 2006, I only wrote short stories. Okay. So I've done a video about me, the 90s and the zines, and I've wrote a lot of short stories. A lot of us older authors, especially horror authors, got their start in the zine community writing short stories. Kind of cut my teeth writing short stories. I liked writing a short story, and I realized quickly that a short story was not a scene, it was still a story, a beginning, a middle, and an end. Okay. Now, there are short stories that you're going to read or you're going to write that are a scene. They read more like a scene, a conversation between two people. Maybe it doesn't go anywhere, whatever. Okay. I'm talking about short stories that people want to read and what they want to buy. Publishers enjoy a short story. Now, not to say I still don't do that, because I wrote a short story maybe 6 months ago, and the publisher said, "Yeah, there's more to this story. You've basically given me a scene," and I was like, "No, I haven't." And then I looked, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I did. Okay, that makes sense." And then I rewrote the story, and I subsequently sold it. Still waiting for that one to go live, but you're still writing a story, whether you're writing a novel, 100,000 words, or you're writing a 2,500 word short story. It still needs a beginning, a middle, and an end. You still have to tell a story. You still have to give the reader something. So that's kind of the first thing you have to understand. Also understand that not everybody can write short stories. I know a lot of authors who are like, I can't. There's no way I can get under this story under 5,000 words, because of the way that they write, the way that they look at a story. I find myself blessed. Maybe I'm not the greatest writer, top 3, but I can write a flash fiction story. I can write a 100-word drabble. I can write a short story. I can write a novella. I can write a novel. I can do all of it, but I've been doing this for almost 40 years, and I've had a lot of practice, and I've written a lot of bad things in all of those lengths. So that's part of it for me. Now, what I do now a lot of times is I will look up, say, like Duotrope. Okay, so I'm on Duotrope. If you don't know what Duotrope is, it's a paid thing where they list all of the publishers' themed anthologies, websites, if they're looking for novels, whatever they're looking for. Okay, and I'll go on there, and you get an email every week. You get an email from Duotrope, and it's here's all the currently open anthologies or web zines, whatever, and here's all the themes. One part of it is here's all the themes that they're looking for, and I'll peruse that. Yeah, I've used that word, and I'll be like, you know what? I think I have a story like that, because luckily I have, I don't know, 200 and something short stories that are just sitting right now that I've written over the years. Maybe some of them are going to be a reprint, but most of them are just stories that I wrote. I did. Trying to think of when that was. Probably 2018, maybe. Me and Jay Wilburn. Basically, the idea was write a story a week, and I literally wrote for my Patreon. I wrote a story a week, and some of them were good. A lot of them were garbage. But anything that I thought was good, that I could maybe sell, I would add to this list of my short stories that were not sold. So I still have a ton of things, and I know themes and this kind of thing. At least I know genres on a lot. So I'll look through and I'll go, hey, this is I got 3 stories. So like, and maybe every other Monday, every third Monday, I'll go through, do a trope. I should do it more often. And I will go, okay, I have a story that fits that theme and that word count. Send it. I have a story that fits, send it. But then I get a thing, I say, no, I don't have anything with that theme, or I don't have anything that fits that word count, but it's an interesting idea. Let me write something. And then I write something. And then that's it. So I know the mindset when I come in and I go, okay, it's got to be 2,500 to 5,000 words. So I can't pull a huge story in my head. I can't pull something with, multiple characters and over on and on and on. I need a smaller idea. Okay. And a lot of times a novel might just be that small idea, but I can figure out how to expand it. So as a writer, you have to figure out, what can I do to this story to make it more concise and get it under 5,000 words? Or what can I do to this story to make this a 63,000 word crime thriller? Where am I going? Mindset, where am I going with these two very different ideas? And so I'll play with it in my head for a little bit. Again, I'm a total pantser, so it's not like I'm writing an outline for any of these. And I'll come up with an idea and I'll go, you know what, this would make this little idea would make a good short story. So I'm going to write this, and that's it. And then normally, again, 38 years or whatever it is of experience of being published and being, I can kind of figure it out. Word wise, where I'm going. So for instance, as an aside, all my Severed Press books, and I've done 12 of those now because the last one I sent in, I'm waiting for edits back. They're all 30,000 words. Okay, that's the contract, 30,000 word novellas. And this last one I sent in, I think it was 30,103 words or something like that. I'm getting that story like right down to I'm not writing and going, well, this ended up being 55,000 words, or well, this ended up being 22,000 words. No, I'm hitting that 30. That's my goal. That's what I'm hitting every time. Same with short stories. Now, sometimes, especially with flash fiction, I'll just start writing and I know, hey, I only have 750 words to play with. So let me write the story bare bones and see what works. And it might be 1,000 words when I'm finished with that. And I go, okay, now what are the bad words here? What are the words that we do not need in this story? And then I start trimming from there, which is always fun. Very rarely am I going to get like, oh, it's got to be 500 to 750 words, and I only wrote 400. Normally it's going to be like 800, 850, and I got to cut it back a little bit, which is fun. Again, smaller ideas as far as the plot, as far as movement. You can't write, you can't write this huge book and condense it to 750 words, to condense it to under 5,000 words. It's not going to read right. You're going to maybe write a scene from a larger book. And I see a lot of writers who will go, I wrote this short story and then I ended up making it into a novella. And then I reworked it and I ended up making it into a novel. And that's fine. If that's your thing, I'm not a big fan of that. I think once the story's done, it's done. Maybe I'll write those characters again, but I'm not just going to rewrite that and make it bigger. I don't see that as, for me, I don't see it because I have a billion ideas. I will never run out of ideas for stories. So why am I rehashing some of the older stories and ideas? And I'm not going to say that there's writers that aren't doing that. I know I can name 2 writers off the top of my head that I'm not big fans of, and they just keep rewriting the same story over and over and over, or they keep expanding what was originally a 2,000 word, 3,000 word story, and now they're doing 80,000 word story. they keep rewriting this thing and it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I don't see that as a something that I would ever do. It doesn't make any sense for me. So writing short stories is obviously we need ideas. Obviously we need characters. We still need characters. We need some backstory. We need something. We need the reader to invest in the story. Okay, to take ownership of this story because of the characters, because of the setting, because of the plot, whatever it is. So we still need to write a really good story. I love reading short stories. I think I did a video about it, why I love anthologies. I love to see what other authors can do with limited number space. Okay, limited words. This has got to be a great story. Okay, this has got to hook me from the first line to the last line. This thing, I want to be able to sit down and start reading a short story and not be able to put that book down until I'm at the end of that short story. And again, I don't care if it's a 750 word flash fiction piece or it's a 5,000 word short story. I want to have to finish reading that in one sitting. Okay. And that might be 2-3 chapters of a normal book. It doesn't matter. I want that many words and I want it to hit me and I want it to hook me. And that's how I'm trying to write characters. That's how I'm trying to write short stories. If a reader says to me, "Oh yeah, I started whatever your short story, I'll finish it later," that doesn't connect for me, because that means, what did I do wrong? What did I do in that story that didn't allow the reader to say, "I can't put this book down. I can't put this story down. I have to keep reading." So, and that's my own craziness. I'm guessing a lot of writers are like that. They want to know that you cannot put this story down. This story is that great. And reading a lot of other short stories for me is big. You got to read. As a writer, you have to read other stuff. I want to know what the other authors out there are doing with their stuff. I'm not reading them necessarily to steal ideas. I'm not reading them to figure out what the weird or cool thing or non-conformist, breaking the rules ideas. I just want to read some really good stories and be excited as a reader and then as a writer of, I can do this, or I can give it a try. I might not do exactly what this is, but you know what? I'm gonna give it my own shot. I'm gonna give it a shot. I want to write a story that is this good. Okay. And you learn from bad stories too. You read something, you go, I didn't like that at all. Why did I not like it? Why did I not like it? And I'm going to try to stay away from that with my own writing. Okay. Short stories for me too, also. So every month on my Patreon, at the $5 level, besides all the other stuff you get a short story every month. And it's a short story that you have not read anywhere else. Okay. Once a month, I do a short story. And a lot of times I write for me, I consider experimental short stories. Short stories that are not like easily classified as horror or crime thriller. I might write a science fiction short story. I might write a character, literary fiction thing. I might write weird supernatural. I might write something that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter. I'm as a writer, I am able to experiment. I'm able to write things that maybe are a hard sell. Maybe there's stories that might not work with anything I see currently that people are looking for. And I'm not saying that this makes them great stories. They just make them different enough that it's hard to find somebody to publish this short story. And I say, I put it on my Patreon, and at some point in the next year or so, they're going to be on one of my short story collections. So they're never, those short stories are never lost. They're never waste of time, because they are stories that people will eventually read. And I enjoyed writing those. And I think that's what's important as a writer. Sometimes we forget, let's write what we're having fun with. Let's write the ideas we're excited about, we're passionate about. And it doesn't always have to be the same thing over and over and over. There's a writer that I know, and I'm trying to say this nicely because I really, really like her. She had a very specific job in her life. Okay. And all of her stories is that profession. Every single character, main character in all of her stories, all of her books are that profession every single time. And I guess it's yeah, write what you know, but for me, I think that would get boring. I'm not cutting any of that. So that would be like me. Every single one of my character was in some dead end retail management job, right? Every story I wrote, the main character is in a retail management job, whether he's selling shoes or he's selling dollar products or he's whatever he's selling. And that would get boring for me. That would get boring for me as a writer to have to write that same character over and over in that same industry over and over and over. So, you got to have fun with this. Writing short stories for me is exciting because I know I can knock something off. So if I'm writing a book, like I'm writing a book right now, and I'm like, I don't know, 60,000 words into it, whatever it is. I think I'm 60,000, right? Yeah, 60,000 words into this book. And I say to myself, self, because I talk to myself, is this book ever going to get finished? This is weeks and months I'm writing this book. And sometimes you need that that push, you need that spike in your brain of you're accomplishing things, you're getting things done. And for me, it's a short story. It's a flash fiction piece. Hey, I just finished this thing, and kick up the endorphins or whatever those things are, because I got yet another thing done, another thing I can put on my list. It's a completed story. I can try to sell this somewhere. I can do something with this. I'm done. I'm going to take the rest of the day off, kind of thing. And for me, I need those. I need those pushes. I need those positive pushes when I'm writing, when I'm getting stuff done. So that's fun for me. All of that is fun. I think even if the book I'm writing now is the idea is I want to get an agent. I want a big 5 publisher. I want to move to the next step. And for me, realistically, that is the next step. Will it happen? I don't know. Am I hoping it happens? Obviously. So if that happens, and I get signed to a deal, and they're like, yeah, we only need 1 book a year from you, kind of thing. That would drive me nuts. I write 4 or 5 books a year. But let's just say I'm like, all right, I'll still write 3 or 4 books. And here's the one here's the one, the best one. Here's 4 books. Which one do you want? What kind of thing? Let's all make billions of dollars. I'm still going to write short stories. No matter what happens in my career, if I never get that contract, if I get it doesn't matter. Short stories are always going to be a thing that I am going to write, and I am going to enjoy writing because it helps to stretch that writing muscle. It helps for me to still challenge myself to come up with ideas within a structured amount of words. And I think that's really important. For me, that's super important. So, do you write short stories? Do you not write short stories? I want to know. I want to know what your deal is. Are you able to write flash fiction, short stories, novellas, novels? Can you just sit down and write whatever? I can write all that. Screenplays, no. I don't think I will ever be able to be comfortable writing a screenplay, and I've written a couple of them, or helped write other people write a couple of them. Not a big fan of doing that. Now, if you want to write a screenplay for one of my stories and sell it, and we'll have a big star. Paul Rudd wants to be in my movie. I got no problem with that. But I'm not going to get into that. I am comfortable in the lane that I am currently in. And so, that being said, I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what you do. Are you? And again, I was unable to write until about 2000, end of 2005. I wrote my first novella. Okay, so that's how long it took me from like 1985 to 2005, 20 years. I only wrote short stories. I was only comfortable writing short stories. Luckily, I still retained the ability to write shorter stuff. I didn't go, oh, now I can't write a short story because I have these 63,000 word ideas in my head. No, I was still writing the smaller stuff too. So let me know. Let me know if you have any other ideas as well for any of these videos. I'm basically just picking a random idea that someone has given me. I'm sure somebody gave me this idea. I'm sure I don't remember who that was, but thank you. It's not about a pat on the back. It's about helping all of us. So thank you for hitting the subscribe button. Thank you for watching 30 seconds or more of the ads. I really greatly appreciate it. So let's keep this going. Every Wednesday and every Sunday, I do these writing videos. So check them out. Watch all of them. Appreciate it.